When you walk up to the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity system, and it will sense the key, and you can see a little light flashing on the key fob, but it doesn't turn on any exterior lights. So basically we're just left with nothing. So let's go ahead and hit the unlock button. So now we have the lights in the front and no tail lights, unfortunately, and there's no approach lights, nothing like that on the side of the vehicle to help you navigate the ground to get to the vehicle. So all we have when we hit the unlock button is just some lights here in the front, which quickly go out, and the interior lights. Hit the unlock again. Okay, so they come back on, so that's good. It does have a DRL off position on the headlight switch, and at nighttime though, it actually turns the headlights off. So completely all the headlights are now off, and I can put it in drive and I can drive the vehicle with the headlights off. Some vehicles won't let you do that. Now I have the parking lights on, and there's actually two accent lights. The ones on the bottom are a part of a package, so they're an upgrade. But the ones on the top are the daytime running lights, and they're pretty bright. They're fairly bright, and they have like a cool style to them as well. And the lights here at the bottom, they're not very bright. They're just for an accent. They're not that functional, really. They're not bright enough for daytime running lights or anything like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool style. There is an amber side marker now on here in the front, a red side marker here in the back, and it's kind of part of the tail lights here. Pretty cool design once again here in the back with the red tail lights. They look a little orangey, but they're a nice bright deep red tail light. And the tag light's on, and it illuminates the ground slightly. Now I have the turn signal on, and it's just an amber color light that replaces the white light that we had on top. And it just flashes, and it's fairly bright. You'll be able to see it from the front, the sides. It flashes all the way around here, so it's fairly bright going this way as well as the front, which could come in handy. But yeah, nice bright light, but also it maintains that style, which is pretty cool, I think. There's also an amber side marker or amber turn signal indicator here on the side mirror, but man, is it really dim. Can't really see it from the front, maybe a little bit from the side. It's more bright this way, but yeah, not very bright there from the front and the side. And then you have an amber turn signal here in the back, and it's within the taillight. So that's nice. It you know, sometimes they'll have a turn signal that's disconnected from the taillight in a low position or something. This one is actually pretty good. It's amber in color. It's very bright. You can see it from it's actually really bright. And it's amber, which separates it from the brake lights and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think it's well done. And speaking of the brake lights, it does have the third brake light in the bottom of the glass back here. And then the reverse lights are also LEDs, and they're integrated into the tail lights as well. So you can see there's quite a bit of light in front of the vehicle when the lights are off, you know, or in the parking light position. There's the off position. So there's the low beams there. So you can see you could, I guess, potentially confuse those for headlights, maybe, but there's the actual headlights here. So this is the low beams, and it's a projector system, and it actually has two projectors, one on top of each other. And you can see the top one is now illuminated. And it's fairly small. It looks like there might be two lights in there, but it's a very small little pinpoint light. But it looks like there's two actual LEDs inside that projector system. We'll see how they perform on the road here soon. But yeah, it looks pretty good. You notice that that white light is now amber. So it's able to use that light for the turn signal, but also change it to this amber color when you had the headlights on. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so let's look at the cutoff here. So let me step back here a little ways. And so standing up straight, I can look directly at these headlights, and it's not blinding me at all. I can see all the accent lights and everything. When I dip down the camera, it starts almost like around 5 feet. It starts to get much brighter. And as I go down, the full brightness is way down here. So yeah, okay, so about 2.5 feet off the ground is the full brightness. So it doesn't have like a super clear cutoff here. So right above, I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm looking at it, and I just dipped down a little bit, and it starts getting a little bit bright there. So we'll see how it goes on the highway, or on the road here. Okay, let's go ahead and switch to the high beams once this car passes. There we go. Okay, so now the other projector is now illuminated. So there's 2 projectors, one on top of each other, and now we have the top one and the bottom one all joining in. And it looks like there's 2 actual lenses, but it appears that there's 2 in each, like 2 actual LEDs within each projector. So yeah, so now we have all the lights on in the front, the low, the high beam, and I'm glad that it's an additional light. It's not like a single light that's refocused for the high beams. There's actually another light that turns on. And once again, we'll see how it performs on a dark road. The trunk light is a single light here in the center. It looks like a halogen bulb actually, and it's very poor. There's light in the very center, and that's about it. There's no light here on the sides. You can see all this stuff over here. I could barely see it. And over here, it's just a big problem with using this vehicle at night here in the trunk. And I wish they did a lot better. They could do a way better job than this. This is very, very, very disappointing. The inside of the back door, there's no lights whatsoever. No puddle lights, no approach lights, no pocket lights, no nothing. But it does have a little finder light for the power window. That's it. And the back seats actually are fairly well illuminated. I'm kind of surprised here. So there's these 2 lights here in the center, and they're fairly bright. So they fill in, even on the dark floorboard, not too bad actually. So yeah, that's not bad. And the position of those lights, they kind of shine down in the lap area, but they fill in nicely. I mean, there's very little overlap. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Just those 2 little lights and how they look, especially with the dark carpet and everything. So the front doors, they do have puddle lights. So a light that shines on the ground to see what you're going to step in when you get out of the vehicle. That's nice. I wish I had approach lights though. But there's no other lights. There's no like pocket lights or anything. There's an accent light here on the handle, and then there's backlit buttons for the controls. But that's about it here. Now there is some floorboard illumination. You see those backlit buttons there. And the light here in the front is coming from the center. And there's 2 lights there, very similar to the back, and it once again does a decent job. But we'll see some, pluses and minuses as we go forward. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the interior lights on. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and turn off the interior lights, and you can see that we're left with these backlit buttons here. There's some floorboard illumination, which is pretty good. It doesn't fill the whole floorboard or anything. It's just the tip of your toes, so you can see the pedals, I guess. And a little bit on this side. I don't know if you can even see that. Let me adjust the brightness here so you can see that floorboard illumination there. Yeah, it's very subtle. Very subtle. I'm turning the brightness up a little bit. This is a little bit brighter than what it actually looks to my eyes, but just so you can see some stuff. So there's a little bit of light right in here. And I don't know if you can tell, you see that light where my hand is? What illuminates this area here a little bit, just a very soft moonlight here in the center. But where the wireless charger is, it's just a little tiny bit of light there. The center console is completely dark, so there's no light in the center console. Wow, okay. Let's check the glove compartment. Hey, there's actually a light. Okay, so that's good. So yeah, the backlit buttons are fine. I mean, they're just normal backlit buttons that you would see pretty much in any vehicle. Then there's this little white light, little accent light right there. And no kind of ambient light or anything like that. And the brightness, it just has a single button, and you just kind of keep pressing it, until it gets to the brightness level that you want. You turn the brightness down on my camera here. So yeah, kind of cycles through. And it does more than the screen there. I mean, it does a lot of the backlit buttons and everything too. So maybe you see that as I cycle through. And the screen here, let me go ahead and put the camera up here so you can see how well it does at night. You can see all the way around the vehicle, and of course there's a parking lot with some lights and stuff, but even in real dark areas, now you have the lights that shine. You can see they shine on the ground around the vehicle, and so they kind of illuminate, they help illuminate. There's only like dark spots on the very sides, but yeah, the camera system is really good. There's the front view. So it works well day or night. The USB ports here in the front are illuminated, but the ones in the back are not illuminated. They're completely dark there in the back. So yeah, I overlooked them when I showed you the back because they're not illuminated. So yeah, something to consider. Now up here, the garage door opener controls for the rearview mirror are illuminated, and then you have all the buttons up here illuminated. And I'm glad that they have the interior lights illuminated. Unlike some vehicles, like other Toyotas, they have a light that turn on a button to turn on the interior lights that's not backlit, and that's the only time you're going to use that button, and it's not backlit. This one does have it backlit, and then you have the individual lights you can turn on here. The only thing is, when you turn on this light right here, it's a little bit too much aiming. It's supposed to land in your lap, but it's actually aiming in my eye a little bit. You know, usually they have it to where it doesn't shine right in the face of the driver. It just mostly shines on the lap. But this one's like right in my eye, so that could be designed a little bit better, I think. And then the lights for the visor. There's the mirror, and then there's light over here for some reason. I guess that could work. But it'd be nice if it was, you know, more direct on your face, I guess, if that's what you're looking at. There is the low beams on a fence. So you can see the pattern is not like perfectly straight. There's a little bit of zigzag to it, but there's also a little spot. There's a shadow that's supposed to line up with the oncoming lane. So that's supposed to be there, actually. So let's go to the high beams there. There's the low beams. Let's see how they work. And I got the automatic high beams turned on, and we'll see how they work, because I don't have my hopes up for that, you know. We'll find out if we're gonna be flashing people or something with the automatic high beams. Which it has a quick button to turn them off, so that's good. And I like the way when you hit the brake, it has little brake lights that show up on the screen down here, the gauge cluster. Because sometimes when you're slowing down, even when you're not actually applying the brake, if you like the regen braking or something, it would actually turn on the brake lights sometimes without you hitting the brake pedal. So it gives you an idea of what your vehicle is displaying to other drivers. Okay, so speaking of other drivers, let's see how this lines up here with the oncoming lane. Nobody's flashing us so far, so that's a good sign. Okay, so yeah, it looks like there's like 3 shadows on the road for some reason. Maybe, yeah. I don't know if it's an alignment issue or what, but most of the shadows are on the oncoming lane, so we'll just call that a win. I mean, I can see pretty good, you know. I'm just concerned about that, you know, just dipping down a little bit, and it was already bright as far as other drivers, you know. But most of the light is in that low position, like 2.5 feet off the ground on the low beams. Alright, the road is kind of dark up here. Hopefully, if there's not that much traffic, and we'll get an idea of what the high beams look like and the low beams on a dark road, no lights. Okay, so the automatic high beams kicked in, so I have the high beams on. Switching back down. Alright, still got the low beams. Okay. Looks like somebody on the side of the road. Okay, I can see pretty good. The cars will stop switching it to low beams. Okay, yeah, okay. Alright, I can see the trees in the distance. The brightness is actually pretty good. There's a little bit of patchiness on the road. But yeah, I can see fine. The distance is good. It's just have to overlook the little bit of patchiness sometimes. But yeah, that's actually pretty decent. These headlights, the high beams and the low beams. I mean, yeah, and so far the automatic high beams are working good. That's good. So yeah, I think these are pretty good. There could be a slight alignment issue, but other than that, I think these are the brightness, the fact that you have two projectors on each side, and each projector appears to have two lights in it. And so, you know, you have all these lights which have to overlap and fill in the space without being patchy, which we're having a little bit of patchiness, which could be just an alignment issue. It needs to be aligned up properly. But yeah, I think these are good headlights. You know, these are in that good range. Not really. I would definitely be satisfied with these headlights. I'll just say that. They're not like wowing, you know, amazing headlights or anything, but they do look good. They get the job done, you know, visually, like I can see, and even on the dark roads, and the automatic high beams are working good so far, and that's a good thing. Glad to see that. So yeah. And I have the brightness on this camera turned up a little bit brighter than what it actually looks like. So if you're looking at this and you're like, hey, those look really bright, you know, it's like, well, the camera has to be a little bit brighter than normal just so you can kind of see the pattern and everything. Because it's kind of hard, you know, like if I don't have it bright enough, then a lot of people are watching this on their cell phone and stuff and have like the adaptive brightness, and, you know, like, it's going to be hard to see sometimes. So I have it a little bit brighter than normal just so you can see the pattern and see what I'm seeing. And then I try to describe, you know, how it actually looks in real life. Because it's hard to actually convey that because I don't know what device you're using to watch it, you know. So true to life is usually too dark for the viewer, you know. So it's a little bit brighter. But yeah, I think these are good headlights. And overall, I think with this vehicle is a lot better than the previous Camry. The engine isn't as loud. The vehicle itself is just a lot quieter. It's a lot smoother, the suspension. And probably seats are slightly more comfortable. And it has, you know, adequate power. Last time I drove a all-wheel drive 4-cylinder Camry, it was really annoyingly slow. It was very frustrating. But this one is fine. It's got plenty of power. It's good, very responsive. The eCVT system works well, and the hybrid system's good. And you know, it's getting like 40 miles per gallon, somewhere in there, 39, 38, around in that area. And I've been on the highway a lot, and in some back roads and stuff. But yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty good, it's a step up from the previous Camrys. Now, you know, the price range might be stepping up as well, because all the trims and everything is going to be hybrid. So you have to take that into consideration. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.